What is up, everybody? Welcome. Garrett's still bopping.
It's such a bop, dude. I love that song you found for the intro.
Well, then I won't change it.
I think it's great. I don't know. Chat, you guys like it? What do y'all think? You guys like the intro song? Should we keep it? Go find something else? I think it's a banger. I freaking love it. But
The only
I'm
downside
that kind of
is it's
person.
made by AI, but you know.
So is everything these days. I swear, every commercial at the Super Bowl this weekend was like,
Dude,
AI this,
it was
AI that.
bad.
It was
Like,
bad.
so many crappy AI commercials.
Oh my gosh, dude. Which is crazy to me because I've seen a couple of studies now that have literally said if you put AI in the title of your product, you are less likely to sell it like with consumers. Like they did a test where it's like same product, just different labeling, without AI sold better.
Yeah.
Like ugh.
Well, it's crazy how much Coke is putting into their commercials with AI. I feel like Coke is one of the worst about putting tons of AI into their new commercials nowadays.
Yeah, Coke is doing, and then it's funny because have you seen the FedEx commercials recently? Where
No.
they're like they're super funny. I don't know if this is just like a Utah thing, but there's these
Okay.
really funny FedEx commercials where it's like, oh, what do they call them? It's like tall tales from the delivery guys, and it's like
Okay.
these crazy delivery stories, and they animate them like like comic books and stuff. Looks
Yeah.
fantastic. So it's like on one hand, you got Coca-Cola going all in on AI, then you got FedEx who's like hiring like super talented
Real
artists to make these
animators.
amazing commercials, and I'm just like,
That's awesome.
it's such a difference, dude. It's such a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was crazy. The Super Bowl was interesting to watch, like the commercials and stuff, because like it was everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, there were only a couple that I really enjoyed. One was Seal, that one. Seal the Seal, Mountain Dew. That was a good one.
No,
Yeah,
it
I've
wasn't.
always
No,
loved
it
those
wasn't.
crappy, weird commercials like that.
No,
Yeah,
no, it was so disturbing, dude. The dude with the seal head. I saw that. There was two of those commercials. There was
that's why
that
it's
one,
so good.
and then did you see the one where the guy had a cowboy hat for a head?
Yeah, those were weird. Those were really weird. Seal
You
is Seal, though. Well, you know who Seal is, right? He was the artist.
Yeah, I
That
know
was
who
his
he is.
face.
I know, but it's still disturbing when it's on a seal like that. It didn't look right.
I
I didn't
watched
like
some
it.
behind the scenes of the filming of it. It was so
Oh
funny.
gosh, I don't
He
even
was
want
like
to know.
sitting there, just like perched up on a rock, like pretending to be the seal, and I think it said
What
Taika
the crap?
Waititi was the
Oh,
one who directed the commercial.
of course he was. Of course he was. I'm not even surprised. Like, of course it was Taika Waititi. Jeez. Okay. All right. Well, what do you think, chat? What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial? Anything stand out to you guys? I wasn't overly impressed this year. I love the Doritos commercial just because it was a like there was a competition. Did you see the Doritos one with
Yeah,
the alien getting stolen?
yeah.
That was cool because that was a competition actually where
Okay.
like everyone made, not everyone, but people could make and submit their trailer or their ad, and that guy's won. I thought it was really cool. I was following him on social media about it, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, my other favorite one was the Totino's pizza rolls. That one I've watched it multiple times since then. There was an unedited version, like they
Oh, the
had
one where
the
the thing
edited
just
version.
dies, where it
Yeah,
gets
where it
caught in
gets
the.
squished. They had another version of it that's like an extended edition where the eyeball pops out of his face and like touches the guy's
Uh,
shoe and then he kicks it and
uh,
like it's more graphic or whatever, so they couldn't air it.
why?
He's like, "Well, son, oh well, just get over it. You got to go to school tomorrow." And then they walk away and are eating the pizza rolls. It's just like squished
that,
in the door.
that was another one that I was like, what's up with all the body horror this time around on the freaking
Well, it's the
Super Bowl
comedian
for it?
that's on there. That dude, the I forget his name. I'll have to look him up. But there's a comedian that does all that weird like scream horror. I don't know, not horror, but comedy.
Ugh, yuck.
Um,
Anyway, if you guys are new to this podcast, this is the Practically Reality Podcast where we talk about gaming and tech news. My name is Garrett, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm here with my good buddy Declan.
what's up?
And the way this podcast usually goes is we usually start out talking about whatever nonsense we want to talk about. We do a little bit of pros and cons, or no, we call it our wins and losses of the last
Yes.
week in the gaming and tech world. And then we jump into like a deep dive into one topic. We would love to hear you guys' thoughts for today. We've got a few things we could talk about, but if you guys have something you'd like us to talk about, please let us know in the chat. We are live every week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And if you don't catch us live, you can catch us on Spotify. But that is the podcast today, guys. And also at the very end, we're going to be giving a game recommendation, a AAA game and an indie game for you guys to go and check out. So stay tuned towards the end for some game recommendations from me and Declan. But wins and losses for the week. I've got an interesting one.
Okay.
So I'll start with the loss because it has to do with the win.
Okay.
I don't know where this got leaked or what, but apparently Electronic Arts are the key microtransactions has found a new way to monetize their video games. Any guesses as to what it might be?
Macro transactions, aka you pay for the game.
Game. Dude, if only. No, it's not that. I'll give you a hint. YouTube does this monetization method.
Commercial. Oh, I saw that. Commercials in game. That's freaking bonkers.
Unskippable ads in games, dude.
You know how
my gosh,
breaking of immersion that would be?
Right? The arguments that I saw is like people are like, oh, it'd be just like YouTube. It'd just be like, oh, you just like while you're waiting for the game to load, you watch an ad. No.
I'm not immersed into a YouTube video. I'm watching a YouTube video. I'm playing a game to be immersed into a video game, you know?
Exactly. And let's be honest. Like how many, I've started paying for YouTube Premium. It's like $9 a month just so I don't have to watch the stupid ads. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway.
Well, I've seen some streaming services are now saying that even if you pay for the adless tier, there's going to be content that they make that is too expensive for them to make without having to put ads in. So they're going to put ads in the adless version of their streaming services.
Wasn't that the whole point of streaming? Is you paid up front so you didn't have to watch freaking commercials? What happened?
Dude, I don't get it.
General Milo's like, Garrett, weren't you going to put ads in sale? I consider it for like all of a day, guys. And I got roasted into the ground.
Hey, but now you can.
Now
it's the norm.
Now it's the norm. EA
and nobody can say anything.
That is my loss of the week. Freaking EA coming up with another, yet again, bogus idea for continued monetization in their games. And I'll have none of it. I will have none of it.
Well, I have a interesting thing that I think is a win.
Okay.
I saw last week, this is a little old news. I don't know if it was after the podcast or something, but Steam has been saying that they are now going through their early access titles. And they're putting on if the game hasn't been updated in over a year. So if you go to an early access title and you think that it's going to continue to be updated, there's now a little message that will say the last time that the developer updated the Steam page. So that way you can know whether or not like you're buying something that is going to be stuck there forever and never update, or if it still looks like it's a game that people are actually working on, which I thought was pretty cool.
I love that, actually.
Yeah.
One of the things on Amazon that I actually look at more frequently than I look at even reviews at this point is Amazon now has this thing where it says like frequently returned in the last month.
Oh, cool.
So like it's like a way better indicator of how well like the product is than like reviews or anything else. If I see that it's like frequently returned, it's like I'm not touching that because it's not going to do what I want it to. So I kind of feel like that's kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, like I would love to support an early access game that's being worked on, but if it's not going to be worked on, then that's great. I love that.
No, I agree.
Wait, that's funny because my win is actually a Steam win as well. Steam's just been popping off lately. But so in response, it felt like in response to EA's decision to start putting in unskippable ads, Steam came out and said that any game that mandates you to watch advertisements is going to be banned on their platform. They won't allow it. They just straight up said, nope, like unskippable ads are not a thing on this platform.
Steam has been one of the like hardest stanced teams.
I love it. I love it so much.
Like with gaming stuff, they straight up came out and said, if you have AI inside of your game for like AI generated artwork, we're not going to let it be on the App Store. Like they took a really hard stance against AI generated artwork when that was a huge controversy about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago.
And like we need people like that in the industry. We need someone to like draw a line in the sand and say this is not okay. You know,
for sure.
And like AI artwork is hard because as someone who uses AI quite a bit to just make up the like lack of skill that I have, it's like hard to say like, oh, that's like cool, but at the same time, especially for like a store like Steam to make it keep looking good, I think that's a good move. Like if you look on the MetaQuest store right now, they allow for AI like thumbnails and stuff. It really does pull things down a little
for
bit.
sure.
Like you can tell, and it's just, yeah.
Well,
I
I
don't know.
saw somebody on LinkedIn the other day posting, they're like, man, the Meta App Store nowadays is just looking like a freaking trash bin.
Oh my gosh, we should talk about. Did you read the leaked letter from Boz Wozniak?
Uh-uh.
We should talk about this a little bit because it's really interesting. So CTO of Meta leaked. There was a leaked memo from back in November that he like released. It, bro. I'm just gonna pull it up. I'll send it to you so you can put it on screen. Let me find this thing. But it's like, it makes me nervous about the future of VR with this guy at the head of Reality Labs. Like, it's just. Anyway, you got a loss for the week while I'm looking this up?
Yeah, I saw Nintendo got a new patent for its creature capture mechanic that is going to kind of screw over Pal World even more. So it's looking to create more of the like stranglehold over that kind of idea that it already has. Like it already won in court saying that, Pal World has to change its mechanics.
But it was
But
in
now,
Japan, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So it's a creature capture patent, specifically, is what it says. Let's see. It says the key difference between the 31st and December 31st and February 11th patents is that the former's creature capture system distinguishes between a first and second mode of operation. It describes one screen for aiming a device like a Pokeball and another for capturing or battling creatures on a dedicated field. The new patent attempts to avoid the distinction by using different terminology. So having a field character with a virtual character and like just rephrasing it. So basically having that like capture character, battle character thing is patented to Pokemon, which is crazy.
I just like, I fundamentally disagree with this move by
Yeah.
Nintendo to patent mechanics like this, because it's just like, it's such a corporation suppression move, right? It's just gonna make it so that indie studios aren't allowed to innovate without having teams of lawyers down your throat about things like that. It's gonna cripple game development as it is.
Yeah, I think like we talked about last week about the Nemesis system inside of, which I still wish it was available to more people. But like I can respect that patent. It's something that's not like a genre of a game or anything like that. It's like a system inside of their game. But like I don't know, Pokemon, there's already been so many things like Pokemon, and it just feels like they're really just stealing the ability for other people to make anything even relatively similar. Like with Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, at the core, the game is
It's a combat game, right? Like, it's an
well, it's like
adventure.
Assassin's Creed. That's what it
Yeah,
reminds me of. It's like
yeah, that's a good
if
way to put it.
Assassin's Creed and went and patented their entire style of gameplay, then they could go after Shadow of War. That's what it feels like Pokemon's doing with Power World to me.
Yeah, no, which, like, I mean, like, imagine what the world would be like right now if the Nemesis system wasn't patented and anyone could have added that. Like, imagine Assassin's Creed with that system in it, or like, what's another, like, even fetching what's the other game? Like, even Helldivers with the
Yeah.
system like that in it would have been insane. Like, we talked, like, again, guys, go check out the last episode. We talked a lot about the Nemesis system because it's a great system. We both have such respect for it. But yeah, dude, I just feel like such great content could have come out of that. And
Yeah.
it's like they don't, like, they're not making any money off of that. The only thing that they have because of that patent is like they can keep other people from using it. Whereas
Yeah.
like they should have like licensed it or something. I don't know.
For sure. I think they probably still can.
Sure.
Right? That's
sure.
the idea. They can probably still like license it out to other people. The patent just protects them from not letting them. But yeah, Pokemon
good
could have
point.
licensed it to Pal World if they wanted to. Nintendo is freaking the tightest hands. Like they don't share anything,
Yeah.
They're known for that historically. So
That's a
let's
good point.
see. Illuminating. No, Nemesis system is something inside of, if you look up Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor, it's a system that's inside of that where basically like if you get killed by somebody, then they rank up, and if you kill them or like eliminate them, it creates this like weird bond between you two, and the characters continue to evolve. Like, just look up Nemesis system and Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor on like YouTube, and you'll see some good videos about it. But
It's
just a really cool
amazing.
mechanic.
It's truly awesome. Go and check it out. It's totally worth it. Someone was asking us about the state of play, because that is today. That's going on right now, actually. Sony's
Oh, really?
state of play is live right now.
That's crazy.
I don't know, what any predictions from you, Declan, on what they might announce this year?
I hope there's more about like God of War. I don't know.
It's gotta be something, right?
That's my favorite Sony franchise.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really even guess at this point. I would assume that they're gonna maybe have something about a new version of a console, or I don't know. Like, there are some things that I feel like have been untouched. Maybe not a new version of a console. I feel like they just did that recently with the Pro.
They just announced the Pro. The one thing I could potentially see them, which I've heard rumors about this, and again, I've got the PlayStation Portal, but
yeah, PS.
If they did a PSP, if they did the PlayStation Portable, again, like fully portable, I would be down for that. Like,
yeah.
I'm all on board for that. I would also personally love to see more on the Marvel Wolverine game that's being developed by Insomniac.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I don't know if they've talked about that yet. I'm kind of just like scrubbing through what they've done so far. I'm not seeing much to report.
So do you follow God of War at all?
Not particularly. Funny enough, I got God of War Ragnarok.
Okay.
Is that the latest one?
With your PlayStation?
I got it when I bought the PlayStation. Never touched it. Just had zero desire to die it.
I have watched an entire playthrough of the original God of War. I wanted to play it myself though, so I'm like still halfway through it. The Ragnarok, I don't really know what happens at the end, but I mean, I've followed God of War. I know, like, because this is a reboot of a franchise, right?
Right. Yeah.
So he goes through all of Greek mythology and basically kills the entire pantheon of gods. And ends Greek mythology, which is crazy. And then he appears inside of Norse mythology, right? I don't know if he since I haven't beaten Ragnarok, I don't know if he like destroys the Norse mythology pantheon as well, like causes Ragnarok. I'm assuming that's probably what it is.
Okay.
But then
that's a good guess. People
are saying that he's going to a different pantheon, and somebody just said, I think it was Milo said, or Milo, however you say it. Milo, I always say Milo because of the drink in South America. Milo.
Milo.
Egyptian gods would be so dope.
I'd be down for that. I would love to see Kratos go toe to toe with the dog one. What's his name?
Anubis.
Yes.
Yeah. Ugh. I love Egyptian mythology. That's one of my favorite.
It would go hard too. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff there that I feel like you could do. Like, it's been a minute since we've had a good Egyptian mythology game.
I need to probably just not play God of War because I know exactly what happens in it. Like, I've seen the whole story. I just need to jump into Ragnarok and
jump in, dude. It's
get into that. I have a hard time playing those types of video games because I want to do all the side quests.
Oh, completionist stuff.
And then it freaking takes you. Oh my gosh,
700 hours.
If I sat down and played the story, I'd be done with the game by now. But like every single tangent and side quest, I feel like I have to go and do. So it's just hard for me to make it through any of those games.
So that's so funny because I am like storyline, get through the story as fast as possible kind of guy. Like, screw side quests unless I absolutely need to do it. Like, my wife in this last year got really into Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
And like, it was so frustrating for me to watch it because she would like go do side quests. She would just do these things to like, there's so much, like, that game is an amazing game and I freaking love it. But
I haven't played
I was just always like, just kill the guy, just go find it. Like,
well, the original, or not the original, but the first Zelda for the Switch. I forgot what it's called right now.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. You don't have to do any of those side temples at all. You can just run in and go balls to the walls and kill Ganondorf without doing any of those. That's crazy game design to me. That is so cool.
Like, they straight up built it such that like the game itself relied almost entirely on the side quests, like for continued content. Which, to be fair, their side quests are incredible. Like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, Like I'm very impressed at like the side stuff that was involved in it. And I would love to know the development process on how they came up and were able to create the absolute volume of puzzles and everything that they did. Like how many people were on that team? I would just love to know.
All right, I'll play Ragnarok. I should
Do
do
it.
that.
Do
Milo's
it.
convincing me. Milo.
Milo.
Did you have that?
No, we had
It was a Nestle drink.
we had what was
like
the
chocolate
drink that
milk.
the one that I always had down in Bolivia where I was at is we had what's that one? Did you ever try Inca Cola?
Oh yeah,
Dude, Inca Cola.
that's
slap.
Peruvian.
That's Peruvian, Inca Cola. What was the other one? What was the Chilean thing that we always had? Oh, we were allowed to have ceviche. I don't
Yeah,
think we
I
were
had
allowed to have
ceviche
that.
too.
Ceviche slaps, dude. That was so good.
Yeah. Did you say both your win and your loss?
Yeah, so my loss was EA coming out saying they're gonna make
That's right.
the YouTube of video games, and the win was Steam coming out and being like, "Screw you, EA."
Well, it'll be interesting. I've heard so many companies are dropping their side stores. Like if you had an Ubisoft game, you still had to have the Ubisoft portal, even if you had Steam to be able to run Ubisoft games. And
so
I wonder, I mean, EA, do they have one right now? Will they
that's a
try
good
and compete with
question.
Steam? Like that'd be crazy.
I don't know. I think people would be dumb to try to compete with Steam personally, because like this is something that I feel like Halo has learned in the past year, as they realized that trying to support their own game engine was just like
Yeah.
a money pit. And like it's the same thing with anyone trying to make their own store. It's a money pit. You have
Yeah.
to handle customer service. You have to handle all the servers and the outages and whatnot. Like, I mean, even freaking PlayStation Network went down over the weekend for 24 hours.
Oh, I didn't know
Starting
that. That's
starting
crazy.
on Friday and into Saturday, it was down. And what was crazy about it is like you couldn't even play single player games, which kind of like opened the eyes of a lot of people.
Crazy.
Yeah, like why is that you need a fetching PlayStation Network account to be able to play even your single player games, you know?
That's super sketchy.
Yeah, anyway, I thought that was just absolutely nuts that was a thing at all. And like furthermore, just like totally unnecessary of PlayStation to put that in, you know?
Mhm.
But anyone trying to create like a competing like a competing store to Steam, like you have to handle all that cost. And EA is not in the best of spots right now financially, so I think that would just be dumb of them to try. Like just
really,
comply.
the one I feel like that does is like Fortnite and their maker.
Epic Store.
Yeah, the Epic Store. That's
Epic
really the only
Store-
one I feel like can relatively compete with Steam, but even then it's not even close.
It's not even close because like I mean, Epic is smart in the sense that they're kind of creating almost like an Apple ecosystem where it's
Yeah.
like they have the Unreal Engine and games built on the Unreal Engine can be easily published to the Epic Marketplace. And then like with like, you know, the Unreal Engine having the Fortnite plugin, you can push games straight up to Fortnite. They're creating a really nice ecosystem, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like again, being kind of the Apple ecosystem, they have some higher like requirements and whatnot. Steam is like $100 and you can put whatever the crap you want on our store, you know, like you're going to have a hard time competing with like trying to get people to compete on your store. And that's the whole point of a storefront, is to take the platform fee. Like if you're going to put the money into that, that's the reason you're doing it. So
yeah, for sure.
Anyway, kind of crazy, but speaking of storefronts, we really should talk about the Meta store, because
let me pull that up.
Mess. It is an absolute mess. So there's a couple things to talk about with this. Like number one, there's this letter that I told you about. So the CTO of Meta is a guy named Boz Wozniak. No, that's not it.
That's
He's
not
Bosworth.
Okay, yeah, Wozniak. I was about to say that's
Wozniak is the Apple guy. Yeah, no. So this is Boz. My bad. That's mine. That's on me. So he released. If you scroll down on this article, you'll get to the actual leaked memo right there.
This one.
So it's quite a bit long, but like here's kind of like the basics of this thing, right? Basically, he said, here, let me find a couple quotes from this. Like here in his first paragraph, he goes, "If you don't feel the weight of history on you, then you aren't paying attention. This year likely determines whether this entire effort will go down as the work of visionaries or a legendary misadventure."
That's a lot of pressure.
First off, that's a lot of pressure, but also the legendary misadventure. This is not a legendary misadventure by any means.
Yeah.
like the Meta Store has been extremely profitable and successful. Like they just reported in their last quarter having the most successful quarter ever. What is like the legendary misadventure is their freaking idea for like VR in the future, which down here he explains a little bit more about this. Where is it? He says, gosh dang it. There's a whole part where he talks about Horizon Worlds. Where is that part?
Oh, dude, Horizon Worlds is such a joke.
It is a joke, dude. Where is that quote? Sorry, this is taking. I'm gonna use the control find. Horizon Worlds. Let me see if I can find it. He has something he says about Horizon Worlds. Okay, he says we need to drive sales, retention, and engagement across the board, but especially in mixed reality. And Horizon Worlds on mobile absolutely has to break out for our long-term plans to have a chance. That's in the, again, first paragraph. He's saying this.
Where's that in the first one?
The very first paragraph.
Oh, there it is. That's crazy right here.
Yep. Like his second line, he's like, Horizon Worlds on mobile has to be a breakout for our long-term plans. Like that sentence alone to me shows how truly messed up the direction Meta has for the mixed reality. Like, first off, mobile. Like, let's just talk about that. He's talking about mobile devices, not even virtual reality. Like, at this point, it almost feels like he's just written virtual reality off, like a mixed reality. He's like, we have to break out on mobile for our long-term plan.
That's crazy.
What is your long-term plan? If like the Horizon Worlds is the key part of it. Horizon Worlds sucks. I hate that app with all my heart, dude. Like, and if that is the freaking cornerstone of your entire plan for virtual reality going forward, we're screwed. We're screwed. Oh my gosh, bro. Like I read through this whole thing and like that was like the like first off, like his tone right from the get-go of this. Again, this is a leaked memo, right?
Yeah.
From like the internal. And again, it's from a very reputable source and whatnot, but this was leaked back in November. We got Jordan Cutzer in the chat. Oh my gosh, Jordan is the developer of Derby. And I'm sure he's feeling the same thing. Yeah, really. Let's get Jordan up here. But like, no, like Jordan, what he said in chat just barely is totally the thing that's concerning. It's just like they are prioritizing Horizon Worlds over the third-party developers like me, like Jordan, and like Gorilla Tag that are making them the millions of dollars. And it's like, why would you do that? Oh my gosh. It's very concerning. Because again, this is the CTO. This is the guy who is over Reality Labs. He is the guy that is guiding this whole ship right now. And that's his viewpoint on things as it stands.
That's nuts. I don't know. That's sketchy. Like, so, okay. I actually interviewed for a job at Meta. I don't know if like that it is supposed to be sensitive information or not, but I did. And it was for a job working with Horizon Worlds. They told me they needed me if I was going to get that job to onboard people into like the hundreds of thousands or millions of people. They wanted dev studios to be integrated, not hobbyists. They wanted dev studios to be integrated, and they needed me to do it. My metrics would have been in the thousands of studios by the end of the year. It's like, holy cow, that is...
No one is going to switch to Horizon Worlds.
No. Well, Horizon Worlds, like to me, that whole marketplace is competing with Roblox. Like that's what it is. It's not, it's still a metaverse. That's what they're still trying to go after is metaverse more than they are trying to go after like a VR game or VR application, right?
Oh my gosh, dude. Like which is crazy.
The metaverse is so dead.
It's so dead. It's so dead. Which like if you just straight up look as the Quest and compare it 1-to-1 with like other like consoles, like if you compare it to consoles, it is breaking into a market that has remained unbroken into for years and years and years. Like the last time a new console entered the market and was able to get a significant enough market share to be able to stay is crazy. Like, and Meta has done that, and yet they refuse to think of themselves as a gaming console. Like they just like it's like, why can't you guys read the writing on the wall and just stay where you're good at it? You know?
Well,
like,
it'll be interesting to see how many people transition over into the new Android thing.
if I'm being straight up honest, if there is a competing platform that offers the same number of users, again, this is the problem. Meta has the users, right?
Yeah.
But if a competing platform with all the same functionality and the same amount of users, the same amount of opportunity, it lies there, I will gladly switch in a heartbeat. Meta has
Yeah.
done nothing for us. Like as a studio, the most they've done for us is like string us along, telling us that we were going to get on the official store, and then they got rid of the official store as soon as they approved us for getting on the official store. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I don't know. To me, what they're trying to do is they're trying to take something like Steam or like the Nintendo store and combined it with Roblox. Like that's a video game, but they're trying to integrate every other video game into a video game. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Jordan, or who said that? Somebody said, oh yeah, Jordan said that. It's like people get on and they don't know if they're clicking on a Horizon World or a third party game. It's very confusing, really bad user experience. There has to be somebody else. There's like I feel like they've proven out the technology is valuable. But they haven't figured out how to like use it the right way. I don't know. It's confusing to me.
like I don't know why. Again, I understand that Meta has poured like billions and billions of dollars into research and development that has made some major leap throughs in what like we now have as like gaming hardware for the Quest and whatnot. And that's fantastic, right? We needed someone to do that. But at this point, like it's honestly the company that I'm the most sad about sometimes is the Pico Neo, Pico XR. Like had they been able to enter the VR market in the United States, like I feel like we might have had like a legitimate competition for the gaming space. Pico definitely had their own issues. I've developed for Pico before, and I can say a lot to like the things that happened there. They have their own issues for sure, but it's just like it's like anyone but Meta, dude. Like for real. Like forget Jordan. This is hilarious. Jordan makes a extremely popular baseball game for the MetaQuest, and he's saying that they offered them an opportunity to create their game in Horizon Worlds.
I don't even understand. I've looked at Horizon Worlds more now, and I don't understand how you would even make like a good game inside of it. Like everything that I've ever played in Horizon Worlds is just janky. It's very. I tried it out when I was interviewing for that job. I was like, all right, well, I know this is what it's going to be about. Let me jump in like the 15 most popular worlds and try out, their product, the product that I'm supposed to be working on. And here, I'm going to stop that. It just didn't feel good. Like there was no enjoyment I didn't have playing any of the stuff that I was playing. It just was jank. It was slow. It was not fun. There's not like a way to create a good game loop. It didn't really feel like a real game. It felt like maybe somebody made something inside of Mario Maker, but it felt like a cheaper version of something like Mario Maker. Felt like a sandbox for kind of a crappy video game, honestly, is what it feels like.
Which like why would you put effort into that when games like Roblox and VR Chat are doing that and 2,000 times better than they could ever do it? It's like why would you waste the resources? There's this quote from John Carmack, who used to be the CTO of Reality Labs, and he left the company back in 2022. He was one of like the original believers in VR and whatnot. And when he left, he said this. He says, "We have a ridiculous amount of people and resources, but we constantly self-sabotage and squander effort. There is no way to sugarcoat this. I think our organization is operating at half the effectiveness that would make me happy." Bro freaking went out just like roasting them into the ground. And again, if you guys don't know the history of John Carmack was one of the instrumental devs in the Doom series and in Quake. Like this dude has built some of the most influential video games of history, and he was involved with virtual reality from its inception. He was one of the first people that Palmer Luckey worked with, bringing the Oculus Quest to life. And like straight up, he left the company because he's like, this is ridiculous. Like we're not doing like and like oh my gosh. Here's more of his quote. He says, "I wearied the fight and I have my own startup to run, but the fight is still winnable. VR can bring value to the most of the people in the world, and no company is better positioned to do it than than Meta. Maybe it actually is possible to get there by just plowing ahead with the current practices, but there's plenty of room for improvement. Make better decisions and fill your products with a, he actually swears, he says, give a damn.
That's crazy, dude.
Oh,
It's nuts to me that it's so apparent to everybody. I bet even a lot of the employees that work at Meta hate it. Like, let's be honest there.
100%. Do you remember the guy we talked to from Google? Were you at that? It was in college. The guy from Google who was like, guys, I'm going to be straight up honest. I get out of bed at like 11 a.m., roll into work, maybe work 3 hours, and I'm home by 4. Do you remember that guy?
Dude, it's like, what the heck? That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. You were hired at one of the biggest companies in the world, and you're working how long? And
he's like, we had a baby like 6 months ago, and I'm still kind of tired. So they have these sleeping pods, and usually I just sleep in these sleeping pods for like 2 hours a day.
Oh my gosh, bro! It's like, oh my gosh, like just like that is the caliber. Which again, whether or not you like Elon Musk, I know this is kind of a controversial thing, but like what he went and did with Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Like he cut the fat. The people who weren't doing anything, he got rid of them. And like I personally, I don't use Twitter. I don't know if like the service is better or worse. I don't like Twitter in general. Nothing to do with like whatever, but I just don't use Twitter. That's just the long and the short of it. But like from like an operational standpoint, they're probably sitting way more profitable than they've ever been because they're not paying guys like that dude we met who worked 2.5 hours a day.
Well, I heard a story about Elon after he bought Twitter. They were looking at like all the servers and stuff that they had. He's like, so what is this server doing? And they're like, it's kind of like a backup, but it's like a backup to our backup. He said, all right, well, we don't need this whole server at all. They're like, wait, are you serious? He said, yeah, we just don't need it. And they're like, okay, what are you going to do? Like, we can't get rid of it right now. And he said, no, I'm going to get rid of it. So on his flight home back to wherever he lives from Twitter headquarters, he stopped at the server on the way. They stopped his plane there. He went in, unplugged, and like turned off the entire server room, basically shut off the power to the whole server, and then got back on his plane and went back home. Like it was on his way back home from Christmas, like, or coming back home for Christmas. So he just decided he was going to do it, went somewhere, got it done, and then kept on going. Like, it's crazy to me how, he's cutting the fat. Like, I don't know. It's hard being okay. Did you see the cutoffs that happened at Meta this week? Actually,
I did not.
So I saw. I think it was this week. They said. I think it was on Monday that a couple thousand employees woke up one morning or on Monday morning after the Super Bowl and got an email saying that they no longer worked at Meta and that they had been released because of performance reviews type thing, which they said they were going to get rid of a ton of people this year, right? Because of performance. They were going to get rid of their lowest performers, but they just said this morning or that morning that there were just a couple thousand people who woke up without jobs because they were the lower performers. Some people are saying they're doing that to just not have to pay like
compensation
jobs, or they don't have to pay severance packages and they don't have to pay for unemployment if it's a quality problem and like a performance problem for the employee. They're just trying to get out of having to pay those things, but I don't know. It like they're doing some pretty drastic and crazy stuff right now. It kind of made me glad that I was not like applying for that job anymore, not going through that process. It would have been a multi-month interview process till I got that job.
That's so crazy. Jordan saying that the layoffs do affect some Reality Lab employees. That's not good. And some dev relation reps have been fired. So dev relation reps, these are the guys that are supposed to be like mine and Jordan's contacts at Meta.
Yeah.
They're like, they are the bridge between us and them. They have been extremely instrumental. My guy was extremely helpful as we were trying to go through the process of getting approved for the store. But if like those guys are getting fired, again, it just feels like they hate us third-party devs, which is like, bro, we are making you your money. Like, what are you?
I heard recently that a glimpse of the future into Meta is a glimpse at the Ray-Ban glasses. So the Ray-Ban glasses, they don't support third-party applications or third-party anything. They only support the things that Meta make for them. So essentially, they're looking to lock down all of their hardware with only software that they can make.
Which
and
is
not
funny because
having
they just
third-party
made
devs.
that huge 180, like opening up the Horizon World, or not Horizon World, opening up the Horizon. They call it the Horizon OS.
Yeah.
Which, my gosh, that's the stupidest name. Horizon, like, oh my gosh. In that same memo that we were talking about earlier, I'm pretty sure they talked about they're going to be launching a half a dozen AI powered smart glasses in the next year.
Which those are cool. Like,
Those
don't
are
get me
cool.
wrong, I think they're great, but they're looking at replacing like fully functioning applications with AI is nuts to me.
Well, and like on top of that, like it's kind of a niche thing still.
Yeah.
Like I do commend them for being able to partner up with Ray-Bans because
Yeah.
like they've managed to get the style, which is what most people talk about or like struggle with. But all I'm gonna say is if Apple were to come out with essentially the same thing that like Meta has right now, it would sell 200 times better. And it would
Yeah.
probably function better with Siri in it,
For
right?
sure.
It's like, oh, I don't know why they're wasting their time on that. And it's like you guys are literally the VR market,
Yeah.
you know? And just oh my gosh, like did you see did you know they had a Super Bowl ad? Did you
No,
realize
I didn't.
it was a Meta ad? There was a Meta ad with Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth,
Okay.
and they were wearing Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and they were at a like an art museum or something, and like they did these funny things. No one knew
It was Meta.
Everyone's like, "Oh, that's so funny, Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt." And
I
it's like,
saw the
oh.
okay, I do remember that. I saw the glasses and I knew what the glasses were, and for that reason I knew what the marketing was. But I am assuming if you don't know what the glasses are, then you don't know what the marketing is.
Everyone just thought Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth were wearing glasses and talking funny to each other. And it's like, dude, like you guys, that ad probably cost them all the salaries that they just cut on Monday.
Yeah.
Like,
I just feel like I wish Oculus, like Meta, can keep doing whatever they're doing with their AI glasses. I feel like that's going to be a money pit. That's going to not a money pit. That's going to be raking in money. Like, I think that's a good product. I think it's a cool product. I think that it's still far off from what I want. I want augmented reality glasses.
I want the
that's
Orion
the first
glasses.
step. Yeah,
the Orion glasses is what I want. I'm waiting for the straight up. What is it called in the Spider-Man show? Edith. The one that Iron Man wears.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. Like that's when I'll be buying those. But I do think that like their Orion glasses will eventually like hit that. I really do.
Yeah, but like the fact that I don't know. One thing that I have learned over this AI hype, like craze over the last couple of years, is all these crappy AI products where they promise you won't need apps and stuff, like the Rabbit One or the whatever pin, like that these companies have made that are just fake apps.
Mm-hmm.
Or no. The Rabbit One was an Android operating system running applications, but pretending like it wasn't running applications. Like all this stupid hype about artificial intelligence, running these things and not using applications for it and having the AI be like the main thing that's just doing everything. That's all just some weird fantasy that's maybe going to happen one day, but it's still, a long ways out. So people who make applications and make third-party software like are fine over the next little bit because we're not even close to having AI sophisticated enough to do everything like the Elon Musk's Do Everything app that he's trying to build right now. Like
I've never even heard of that. I'm sure it's something crazy.
It's pretty nuts.
Elon is such a funny character in the stuff he does because it's like sometimes he does some pretty crazy things. I mean, for like, holy crap, the dude got us to space again. Like he made space profitable. Yeah. That's crazy. But at the same time, it's like, hey, remember how you announced you're going to release the Tesla Roadster like 10 years ago at this point? When's all that going to happen, man?
Dude, AI, man, we could go on about AI too.
We've gone on about AI.
Yeah, we have times. As people who have listened to the podcast in the past know, I love Dungeons and Dragons, right? And these books right here are the newest resource books. Let me grab one real fast. So this one came out. Actually, I still think it's not officially out yet. I pre-ordered it and somehow got it 2 weeks early, which is pretty dope. I think it comes out the 18th or 15th or something. But So this book is so cool because every page has artwork for all the monsters.
Oh, that's
So every monster is represented. There's art on every single page. Like
so cool. That's
it's
so cool.
awesome. And it looks so good. And when I got it, I was so excited by it. It's huge. It's like 390 pages. And there's art on every page. Looks fantastic. And then I read an article saying that Wizards of the Coast has already come out openly saying that some of that is just AI driven artwork. They're using all of the Dungeons and Dragons artwork from the past and training an AI model to basically come up with the artwork for that, where they could have, I mean, you could hire so many artists and give them so much work to do art for every single page.
So like, okay,
But-
so to speak on like AI artwork, I have used AI to make artwork for my games a few
For sure.
times. But every time, I will say this, every single time that I have used AI, I have gone back and had a real artist
Yep.
come like fix it. Like I would have them come back and fix it because it always looks better. AI gets close, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think AI, for me, AI artwork is good for inspiration.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, we got to talk about Jordan's question. This is a good one.
Yeah.
So Jordan said, highlight this if you can, Declan. Do you think VR players are feeling that VR is a biz more and more? Seeing so many complaining about prices seems grant subsidies investment are drying up and consumer wallets feel it. So there's a YouTube channel. They did a great breakdown, which I think was very interesting. There's a YouTube channel called Shrimp or Fistful of Shrimp. They do some really good XR tutorials. We've used them quite a bit for optimization in virtual reality development. Awesome channel. The guy does a really great job, but he did a breakdown of this. He did a breakdown of this memo and also of like kind of the shifting market. And he had an interesting opinion that I will try my best to share here. Again, go see his video. It's a really awesome video where he breaks this down. But I think what has happened and the reason why, like, as far as like business and investment is like drying up on this side of things, is the market is so different than anything we've ever seen in the gaming platform, right? So like with the Xbox and the PlayStation, like, yeah, there's young players, but there's also a hefty amount of old guys that are still playing in the space.
Yeah.
And his kind of opinion on this is just like, look, those old guys that are playing the Xbox today still were playing it 10, 20 years ago when it first came out because that's what they grew up with. And his saying, and also kind of like my opinion on this is like the VR generation are going to grow up with this device and they will become that heavy hitting VR generation who can pay the big dollars in the future. But right now they are, like they're young. But as they grow up, they're going to grow up like playing these games and whatnot. And investment companies, the business side of things, they don't want to wait that long. They don't want to wait for the 10-year, gamble on whether or not this community will continue to grow to see their investment payback. Like Jordan, you and I both have had dealings with private equity groups, and I feel like most of the ones we talk to kind of have like at most 5-year plan for getting their money back if they invest in someone. If they're looking at a 10, 20-year plan for like seeing a market mature, they're just going to wait and see,
Yeah.
Like the crazy thing to me about venture capitalism that I was not aware of. I always thought that venture capitalism was more of a gamble where it was like they were going to take a bet. And there is a part of it to that. There are some people who are more in that realm, but the bigger money, the bigger checks that are written, they don't write it to risky investments. They write it to stuff that is already on fire. Like the quote that I use is like, they want to find fire and throw gasoline on it. That's what they're trying to do. They don't want to take a risk on things that are like, maybe it will, maybe it won't. They're trying to find the things that are already blowing up and get in on it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, is that trickling down? In a sense, yeah. But the developers who are playing the cards right, like if you are one, like again, Jordan, I think you're a great example of someone who's doing a good job with this. Is like, we understand the audience, we interact with them on the platforms that they use, TikTok, YouTube, and all that stuff. And we understand that like, hey, they don't have like, yeah, they may not buy as much, but like they buy more than like the adults do. Like, yeah, like they won't spend $30 at one time, but they'll spend $60 in microtransactions, So anyway, like it's in my opinion, what's going on here with the community and whatnot with VR is it's maturing.
Yeah.
And it's a different market. Like, I'm sorry, but we've created a different gaming market than has ever been seen before. And that's going to come with different rules and different best practices.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I mean, you have to remember, and everybody has to remember VR and any game is a business. I know that, like, it sucks to think about that, but everybody has to make money off of what they're doing. And it's hard being a developer in this time because like mobile games have made it so hard to, sell games to people. Like, I mean, I bet you remember buying an Xbox or buying a GameCube and then buying games for them. Like, that was just the game, that's just what you did. Or you'd go to Blockbuster and rent a game.
Like midnight releases, you would wait and you'd go buy that physical copy. And like,
I think renting
so
games,
great.
I wish you could rent games still. Like, there are people that don't want to play video game or pay for full video games, but you could rent them in the past and try them out, and
or like borrow them from a friend. I borrowed. The only reason I played Shadow of War is because Matt let me his copy of it for 9 months. Like,
we're just in this weird era of content in general where you have to own it no matter what. You can't borrow it from other people, which is weird. You don't physically own anything. Everything is owned digitally. Therefore, you don't actually own anything. But to be able to use it, you have to pay full price for it. I don't know. To me, it's just a recipe for piracy.
Right. And like, this is kind of the new generation that we're entering into, is like Fortnite is kind of king, free to play games are king. And so I think, like, I know there's been a lot of controversy with developers, especially on the VR platform. I don't know outside of VR, like, if this is the same case, but in VR, one of the things a lot of companies are struggling with is they'll put up a game for like $20, right? And then there's a free to play version of that same game right next to it that gets shown up. Like, and unfortunately, the one that's going to get played more is the free to play version because of the market, And
go ahead.
I know there's a lot of controversy around like free to play versus non free to play, but like, again, I just kind of feel like this is the way that the world is shifting as far as like game development goes, and like the way games are going to be in the future. And she's like, I don't know. It's almost like get on the horse or get left behind. You got to figure out how to work in this new era.
Well, if EA gave away its games for free, I guess, then I'd be fine with them throwing in advertisements into everything.
Right. But it's like, if I'm going to pay $60, if I'm going to play $60 and it's like, and we also have to listen to like 5-minute unskippable ads, not even worth it. Right?
I think we just have to remember as consumers as well. Because, I mean, I try and buy video games whenever I can. Or I try and pay to, like, if I like a video game and it's free, I'll pay $20 for a skin. Like, I'll do something like that. But, like, my hobby and fun time and free time is somebody else's livelihood. And I have to remember that. Because, like, what I do for fun and what I am able to do because other people are working really hard is what is supporting their families.
Yep.
And it's easy to lose sight of that when you don't have that in your lives. Like, I'm not ragging on video game players that are kids, like, but if you don't have that pressure, like, if people didn't make money from video games, then we'd not have video games. Yeah. You would not have these things to do. So,
and there is a balance, like, I think one of the cool things about having built Cell VR and gone from, again, we were a paid game and we switched over to free to play, but at the same time, like, I built a community that knows me. Like, I jumped in this morning to Sail and I played for 2 hours with random people because they're like, yo, Gary, like, creator of the game, let's do it, And so, like, again, this is again with the like evolution of the gaming like ecosystem is kind of this need to be more personal with your players. Don't be a corporation anymore. Be personal, Like, I put my face and my voice onto all of our TikToks, and that's been extremely effective because I jump in a game and people see that I'm actually playing like the game that I made. And, I think people feel more invested in that because, if they buy and support stuff in Cell VR, it goes towards keeping my family alive and keeping the families of the devs that we hire alive. And we're a small team, it's not like we're some major corporation. We're 4 people strong, It's a very small team. A lot of people know the different devs and they interact with the community. And because of that, I feel like it's easier to support, and Jordan is another great person who does this. Jordan can jump into his game and he's recognized as the creator. And I am much more likely to support a game where I feel like I know the people behind it than I am to like support any of EA's crap.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's like a fine line between greed and between greed and like surviving.
Yeah.
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 For a lot of smaller people, it's like, I'm not charging $20 for the game because I'm greedy. I'm charging $20 because that's what I need to make this like viable,
Yeah. I mean, like there was a rumor there for a second that GTA 6 for the base version of the game was going to cost $100.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the internet lost their mind. Like, because it was just like there's no way. Like that is a 40% increase on like the price of like regular games. Like games are already $60-$70. Like that's insanity. We can't keep doing this, And
yeah, for me, I have like a metric of if a game is worthwhile for me or not. If I get 2 hours of enjoyment, no, that's not even true. If I get probably like 45 minutes of enjoyment for the amount of money that I spend per dollar, because like if I'm spending $20 on a video game, I'm not expecting it to last 20 hours. I'm not expecting it to last probably in some cases more than 10 maximum, maybe even 6. I don't know. I just have to quantify the amount of time that I spend on a video game is the dollar value that I should be paying for it. So like the fact that I have spent thousands of dollars on League of Legends is kind of sad to me, but as well, like
I've put thousands of hours
in the League of Legends. So like if it whatever costs $100 for the game, what game was it?
GTA 6.
Yeah, GTA 6. If that costs $100 for me to buy, but I play it for 2,000 hours, like that's still so much value you're getting from the $100 game. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I'm kind of different because like you're definitely like a completionist when it comes to game. I am a dabbler. Like I like to just try things out for a second and see like, do I like this? Do I not? Trying to find the next thing that like really sparks my interest. And so like if I were to use the same metric you had, there would literally be 2 games, maybe 3 that I actually can say I have that like amount of passion for. And so like I am the king of like finding free to play games because it's just like, well, I can try it, and there's no investment. But the games that I have tried and really loved, I continue to put time and money and support into it, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. We could do a whole talk on like the free to play market and whatnot at some point. And I'm curious what chat thinks about that. Like, what do you guys think about free to play? Like, is it good for the industry? Or is it bad that everything has to be pushed to free to play and microtransactions? What do you guys think?
I would probably have microtransactions over subscription models. I think subscription models 100%. Suck.
I hate subscription models. Like,
it's so like you think that you're penny pushing developers already for subscriptions. Like at least you're getting the transactions for the cosmetics and stuff after that. But like for a subscription, you're not making very much money off of that. It's like, have you heard about how much money artists make when they stream off of like Apple Music or Spotify? Like it is so little how much money they actually make. The only way that artists make money nowadays is by doing concerts or by having their music like put into movies and stuff like that. They don't make money from people streaming on
it's a negligible
platforms.
Amount.
Yeah.
And
that would happen to developers as well at some point, and then, but what do you can't go on a tour as a developer and talk to your fans, you have to, I don't know. Streaming games is so sketchy to me.
Yeah, and then like that, you are completely at the whims of whoever's hosting the platform, right? Like, I know Meta has it's called like the Meta Plus or something like that, where like you pay a subscription fee and then you're able to try out certain games, and that's definitely interesting for the sake of trying to find like new games that you like and whatnot. But yeah, I just don't. I don't know. Like subscriptions in game are kind of interesting to me in VR because VR is the one place where like your physical presence is like it actually matters, right?
Mhm.
So one thing we were considering doing for a while was making a we were thinking about making like an exclusive club in Sail
Mhm.
VR, where it's like you could pay basically a membership fee to go to that club, and there'd be stuff in there. Like
Mm.
there'd be a whole section that's just for those people.
NFTs, baby.
Not NFTs, never
I'm
NFTs.
just kidding.
But but I mean, like we've considered that, and but as we've thought about it, it's like, you know, the only real value in that would be basically being able to separate yourself from what's
The other
known
players.
as the public lobbies.
Yeah.
And a much better use of our time, and probably would be equally profitable, would be to just make clans. Just
Yeah.
let people create their own groups and their own clubs, basically. But
You know, I think how interesting would the gaming ecosystem be if instead of like a bunch of streaming stuff and a bunch of like free to play games, if when you published a game, you had to put a demo on there, you know how different that would make the ecosystem? I feel like you'd get a very similar effect. You'd get a taste of the game, you'd be able to try it out, be able to see what it plays like. But then if you like it or not, you can buy it. That's how I remember games growing up. I had Xbox, and every time you got a new Xbox game, there was a demo for
came
another
with
game.
a demo with the other game, yeah.
So
I
I bought so many video games because I played the demo and I enjoyed the demo. But like that would be
I
just
wonder like
so
what the
interesting.
cost benefit of that was, because I bet you more often than not people played the demo and they're like, yeah, that's about all I need to see, right?
Yeah,
And so I bet you the
which is
reason that they
fair.
stopped doing that though is because they're like, you know, we kind of want people, like we would much rather deal with people's buyer's remorse than to take the risk on getting half as many sales because they actually tried the game and don't
Yeah.
really like it. So they're like, let's just get people to buy it and then we'll just deal with refunds.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be cool that Steam you get on, every game has a demo. It'd be interesting.
There's something there. There's something there. Meta did something like that for a while. There was called a try before you buy system.
Yeah.
And we did that with Sail VR for a long time. Um, and it had pretty good results. But we definitely designed the try before you buy to cut off like right before things got fun. Um, so it was,
Mm, yeah.
I don't know, dude. The demos is interesting. I like personally what I kind of think should happen more often is like you just like try finding your community before you release your game
Yeah.
sometimes, you know? Like I'm actually really excited to see what this new Battlefield is going to be like because they're involving the community in
Yeah.
testing and stuff from the get-go. And that's huge. So, I don't know. It's interesting to see like unfortunately like these AAA studios are struggling.
Yeah.
EA is not in a good spot. Ubisoft is going under, and everyone is like kind of seeing the whiplash from this, and it's creating a new world where it's like on one hand you've got like Balatro, who is a paid app on a typically free to play store that
Yeah.
people love, and then you also have games like Fortnite that are literally putting in like Call of Duty levels of gameplay type things with their new ballistic game mode, and are getting hundreds of thousands of new players because of it. And it's crazy. It's a very like the next couple of years are gonna be very key for like the
Yeah.
future of gaming and stuff. So
If you would have told me that Ubisoft would be struggling when I was playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I'd be shocked because that game was so good.
yeah, Black Flag. I was on stream last night and I was telling people about Black Flag, the pirate game, and like that was absolutely instrumental in me wanting to make a pirate game eventually of my
Yeah.
own. And I was like, that was one of the greatest games I've ever played. Still is. I love that game.
Yeah.
But it's like holy crap, like how far are you falling?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, chat. It is what it is.
Kermit, I saw this question and I wanted to address it.
Those are not
These
3D
are
printed
frisbees.
3D printed frisbees.
These are all frisbees.
We should talk about 3D. I'm probably gonna get into 3D printing. Give me an excuse,
Got
Kermit.
a 3D printer. For
Oh yeah, did you get
friend
that
gave me
working?
one for Christmas. It is still pending. I actually just got a new piece today, or not today, like this weekend that I have to put in there. I haven't had time because I've been working so much, but
Yeah.
I got a new motherboard, so I have to take it apart and put back the the motherboard back in my 3D printer. I got an Ender 3 Max from a
Nice.
friend.
Nice.
And I do enjoy 3D printing. I have probably 30 rolls of filament up in there. They're small rolls just to try them out. I got like a sample pack of colors, but
Nice.
we could get into 3D printing eventually. I have some recommendations if you are going to.
I've been trying to only allow myself one piece of new tech per month this year.
Okay.
So this last month I bought myself the PlayStation Portal, and I've been really messing around with that to try to create. I made a review on it, everyone. If you want to see my full review on the PlayStation Portal, I posted it on my channel, Garrett the Gamer. But I'm debating on this next month what I want to get into, and the things that I'm thinking through is I'm kind of in a handheld mode, so I'm thinking about maybe getting a Steam Deck and truly trying that out to the biggest extent possible. So that's one of the things. The other thing that I've been really interested in lately is full body tracking in virtual reality. I really want to try that and see if I can make some funny content using it. Like, I love the YouTube channel Russian Badger, and so I've been thinking, like, he explains his setup one time, and he's like, this cost me like $30,000, and I was like, I bet you with a Quest 3 and a couple trackers I could do exactly what you do for a fraction of the price. And I almost want to mess around with it just to prove that that's possible. And then the last one is 3D printing. I really want to 3D print like Star Wars stuff. I'm a pretty big Star Wars nerd.
So I have a friend that he does tons of Mandalorian helmets.
That's so dope.
This friend that gave me this printer, he used to print them on this printer, but now he has a Bamboo Lab. So if you're gonna get a 3D printer, get a Bamboo Lab A1 Mini. I think they're like $215. Work out of the box, whereas the one that I have is like $200 as well, but it takes a ton of maintenance to do. Bamboo Labs you don't have to tinker with; they just work.
Yeah, from the research that I've done, like Bamboo Labs definitely looks like the direction I would go with it. The thing that I'm actually the most worried about when it comes to 3D printing is the fumes. Like I don't have a very good ventilated place to.
You don't need one for TP or for PLA.
Really?
You should be fine with PLA. I wouldn't worry about it. Or TPU as well.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. So we'll see. Maybe I'll put up a poll and see, do people want me to mess around with the Steam Deck, full body tracking, or 3D printing? And then I'll make that my March thing.
Dude, you should do 3D printing, and then you could do like some fun giveaways on your channel.
Oh, that's not it. I really need. I have had a lot of people ask me to set up a PO box so I could get fan mail. I think that'd be a really fun thing to try.
You could do some really cool. If you got the ABS system for your Bamboo Lab, you could do multicolor filament prints, and then you could give away sale characters as like figurines and stuff.
Yo, there's a guy I saw on Freak, what were they're on Etsy, and they 3D print Sea of Thieves chests, and I was like, dude, cool. I want to see if I can do that with sale VR chests, and I could like send them out to people as like winning for like giveaways and stuff. That'd be cool. Well, I think we've talked enough about the disaster that is the Meta Store right now. Should we move on to the final segment where we give our recommendations, a AAA recommendation and a indie recommendation for the week?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to start?
Sure. I will start with my indie recommendation for the week.
Okay.
So there is a game on Meta that I've recently gotten really into that I absolutely love, and it is called. Did I do this one last week? Frick.
It's called Horizons.
Horizon Worlds.
Indie game.
Sponsored by Meta. It's funny that I'm wearing a Meta shirt today. Look at that.
That is funny.
Whoops. I wear a Meta shirt and then I roast them to the ground. Oh, whoops. No, last week I recommended Balatro as my indie game, okay?
Yeah.
This week, the game that I want to recommend is called Plastic Battlegrounds. Have you heard of this game? Okay. Let me send you so you can put this up on chat because this is fantastic. So Plastic Battlegrounds is a sandbox military toy game. It is. I love it so much. There's some awesome content being made for it on like TikTok and stuff, but it's so fun. I used to play with those little green men. You know those little green
the army men.
The little green army men and stuff. I used to play with that all the time as a kid, and this is literally like they took that and they made it into like a Battlefield type feeling game, and it's single player and it's amazing. I love it so much. So like this is Plastic Battlegrounds. It is so much fun. It's literally like green men versus like the tan soldiers like you did as kids.
Dude, there was a Nintendo 64 game that reminds me of this so much called like Sarge's Army or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. There's tons of weapons, and it's like
That's
it's
dope.
all like they stick to the like toy theme of it, right? So
Yeah,
there's like
I love it.
you're in Andy's room. It feels like it's so fun. It's a paid experience. It's $10, guys. Totally worth it. I've gotten hours and hours of super fun gameplay out of it. Great experience. It's like a solo dev that I know of, and like he's just killing it. And I think it's so fun. Such a good time. So
That
Plastic
is
Battlegrounds,
pretty dope.
guys, go check it out on MetaQuest and on Steam. It's on both. So definitely worthwhile.
Okay, let me pull up my game. I've been kind of debating between a couple.
All right.
But somebody else mentioned this game earlier, so I decided I wanted to do that one. I've seen this person in chat multiple times talk about this video game, and it's one that I really enjoy. Let me find it real fast. And it's published by my favorite publisher.
Okay.
So it is called Cult of the Lamb.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So there's a developer. So okay, first off, Cult of the Lamb, I started playing it a while ago. Tons of fun. It's kind of a roguelike, but it's kind of like a city simulator as well, where you have your cult followers and you build a cult and build a town. And it's like, I mean, it reminds me of that Nintendo game that's like super chill. But instead, like every once in a while, you have to sacrifice one of your followers to make your player even stronger, so you can go into harder
Reminds me of
dungeons.
Happy Tree Friends. Did you ever watch that joke?
Yeah,
That's what it reminds me of.
yeah. It's a fun game. Like it's a
It
really
is
good
cool.
roguelike, but I don't know. There are a lot of mechanics to it. I honestly like enjoyed the roguelike part of it as much as I enjoyed the little farm simulation or town simulation part of it. So really good game, but one of my favorite YouTubers, and I'm pretty sure one of Garrett's favorite YouTubers as well, his name is Thomas Brush.
We like Thomas Brush.
He did an interview with the studio that made Cult of the Lamb, and it was an amazing interview.
They are,
and I would
one of
highly
the
recommend
smartest
it.
people.
Yeah, it's a fun interview because they sit and talk about like their ideation process, and their idea was like, what if they say like it's like this game, but and then they add in another mechanic, and that's how they come up with game concepts,
I love
and
that.
that's how they explain their game concepts as well. So this
I love
one
that.
it's a roguelike, but it's a cult simulator as well. So that was their pitch for it.
Imagine walking into a room to a publisher and being like,
Pitching
all right, it's Cult Simulator.
But yeah,
But
it's
a
published
roguelike.
by
Awesome.
Devolver Digital.
Destroy the non-believers. My goodness. Now, one of the most interesting marketing discussions I've ever had and like listened in on was the marketing, the head of marketing at this company. He's an accountant. He had never done marketing before. He got hired on here, and he took his accounting skills and used it to make, like, if you ever look into Cult of the Lamb social media, they have fantastic social media. They've made a whole. Did you watch their mini episodes that they made, like their animated little series? They made an animated episode of like a little show, like using their characters. Oh my gosh, it's one of the funniest things I have ever seen, and I like want to see a whole season of it. It looks fantastic. But this marketing guy, he was an accountant, and he like applied the skills that he had from accounting, and just he has some of the most mega viral videos from an indie studio like in the past decade. So like fantastic. It was a GDC talk, and it was really interesting. But yeah, he did great. Great recommendation.
Yeah, it's a fun game, and anything by Devolver Digital, just
we love it.
Gimme.
My AAA recommendation this week is Battlefield 1.
Garrett's going in with all these retro ones. I feel like your recommendation last week was like a retro AAA title.
No, last week I recommended. Did I recommend Helldivers last week?
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay,
that was my AAA recommendation. Was Helldivers. No. Okay, Battlefield 1 released like 10 years ago at this point. It is still the greatest Battlefield in my opinion. And the servers, it's insane. Servers are still full all the time. You can jump into an operation at any point of the day and it is all the way full of 64 people. It is amazing. Battlefield 1, it's super cheap right now. Like I feel like it's always super cheap, but it's also free. If you guys have Xbox Game Pass, it is free on Xbox Game Pass. And then so you can just like download it onto your Xbox. That's where I play it. I play it on Xbox. Such a good game. So much fun. They because it's so old, like the microtransactions that were in it have basically at this point been disabled or are like negligible. And so it's just this amazing game with like that you basically get for free. And oh my gosh, it's just I love that game so much. Even though it's 10 years old, it still looks as good as almost all the games I've seen released in today's day and age, which is insane to me. And it still plays the best out of any of the Battlefields I've ever played. So
That's awesome.
Battlefield 1, guys.
Okay. I have another recommendation. This is my last one.
All right.
But it comes with the caveat.
Oh, dear. What even is that? Jet Set Radio. Oh, my.
So this is a game from the 90s, I want to say. It was released on Steam in 2012. Jet Set Radio is a fantastic game. Published by Sega. Sega's remaking it. That's why I want to recommend it, is because it's going to be remade sometime soon. They're redoing the franchise with Sega. Jet Set Radio, I will say, is not my favorite of the games that are out there. There's two games. One's Jet Set Radio and one's Jet Set Radio Future. Jet Set Radio takes place in the same world, but you can definitely tell it's a little bit older. It's not as like the gameplay is not as good, I would say.
Okay.
But it's impossible to get Jet Set Radio Future unless you download an Xbox emulator and then get the Jet Set Radio Future ROM, which is how I play it. That's illegal though, so don't do it. I think it's illegal. I don't know, maybe not.
We do not condone the actions of people.
Don't do it. Wink, wink,
Don't
nudge,
do
nudge.
it. I do not support anything Declan implies on this podcast.
But I love Jet Set Radio Future. One of my favorite games of all time. One of the most influential games that I've ever played. Like for me personally, Jet Set Radio is a good way to get the vibe of Jet Set Radio Future, but just not as good of a package. So people still love it, but I don't know. I would recommend it and then get hyped for the next rendition of it because that's coming out soon. And then if you enjoy it, try this one as well because this is like a spiritual predecessor. Just a
Bomb Rush.
we'll throw in there. It's an indie company that makes it, Team Reptile.
Okay.
But Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is like a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. Overwhelmingly positive. They nailed it on the head. And they got the same audio producer that did all of the music in Jet Set Radio to do all of the music in Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which arguably is one of the best parts of the Jet Set Radio franchise. So
great. There's your recommendation, guys. From me, you've got what was my first game? Plastic Battleground. I'm having a stroke. I can't remember. Battlefield Plastic. What the heck is it called? Oh my gosh!
I got you right here. I got
Plastic Battlegrounds.
There you go. Plastic
My
Battlegrounds.
brain. That was so weird. Okay, yeah.
Too many battle games.
Too many Battlegrounds. Yeah, Battlefield 1 as my AAA recommendation. And then from Declan, Cult of the Lamb for the indie recommendation. And then Jet Set Radio. So go check those out, guys.
Yeah. And then I just want to give one book recommendation.
Oh, a book recommendation. All right.
It's called Witchy Eye.
Witchy Eye.
By DJ Butler. He is one of my friends. I have played Dungeons and Dragons with him for years. Fantastic author. It's a historical fantasy series. So it takes place in like an alternate version of the United States. Things don't go well. And it's like elves and like those types of things exist in the world. The United States is fragmented in a different way, but it's like a cool look into what the United States could be like in an alternate universe type thing. So Witchy Eye by DJ Butler. It's on
Yeah.
Audible as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Book recommendation. Love it. I love that the chat was like, "What's a
Book?
book?"
Do I
What
put
are
it on my
these
VR headset?
mystical pages you speak of?
There's this VR app that I've been playing where you sit in a library and you read books all day.
Yo, actually though, now that I'm thinking about it, a mixed reality book reader would probably go hard.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well,
You
so
can be in
because
any
like,
setting.
well, yeah, like because like my wife, for example, she just recently bought. I got her a Kindle for Christmas.
Yeah,
and she's
my
been
wife
reading
loves
like
her Kindle.
crazy. But like you have to hold it, and so like if you just made it so that you could just like place it anywhere and just like sit back in a headset and read, that could be nice, actually. Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Imagine reading The Lord of the Rings inside of the Hobbit hole.
okay, wait, that is a whole nother thing too, because right now on YouTube, a really big thing is you can look up like a book title and like ambiance, and they have these whole like 20-hour long things where it's like it's just like a looping video of like an animation of like whether it's Harry Potter, like the one that I saw was like for Harry Potter, and it's just like you're in the dorm room of Gryffindor Tower. And it's just got this music playing in the background, just kind of creates that ambiance. Dude, that would be sick. Wait, hold up.
I personally am a huge fan of lo-fi hip-hop Hobbiton Shire. So look up the lo-fi hip-hop Shire music. And it's just like a pixelated image of somebody chilling. I think it's like Gandalf smoking a pipe outside of Bilbo's house. And it's all like pixel art.
Dude, no, there's something to that, dude. Because I recently... because we're working on we're gonna work on some underwater games soon. I changed my MetaQuest home to be an underwater scene to like start thinking through that. But it makes a big difference. So anyway, all right, chat. That is all from us. We've got a few more minutes left. We could probably do some questions from the community. So if you guys got questions for us, drop them in the chat. Again, remember we do this live every week at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We're live on Twitch and on YouTube. If you want to catch us there. If you don't catch us live, come and catch us on Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon Music. Is that what it's called? Yeah. We're on all the places you should be able to get your podcast. You can find us, search for Practically Reality Podcast, and you'll be able to find us. But we'll take some questions from the chat now.
And we are close to, I think, 1,000 streams this month. So if we hit 1,000 streams on like the podcast platforms, and we could potentially start to monetize this. Who knows if we will at that point, because nobody wants commercials, but maybe at some point we will. So
we'll be able to afford to get Declan a dope setup so we can actually see his face.
Hey, I got a light right here. Look.
Spoopy light.
There you go. Can you see me now?
Oh man, dude, why is everyone trying to cancel Ben? What did Ben do?
Who's Goodness.
Ben? Ben is one of our developers here at Red Team Interactive, and apparently we're canceling Ben. What did Ben do?
Freaking Ben.
Freaking Ben. We can cancel him for a day on Friday. He's taking the day off, so you guys can cancel him for Friday. How about that?
There you go.
There you go.
I don't want to jinx anything, chat, but next week we should have our first guest.
Guys, we have had, I kid you not, 3 people back out on us for being a guest on this podcast.
Like 2 days before the podcast starts.
2 days before the podcast starts. Oh,
cough, cough, Jordan. Cough, cough, cough.
We'll get him on here. I think it'd be fascinating to talk to Jordan. We'll get him on here. I was bugging him yesterday because Jordan just released another game.
Oh, cool.
That is completely hand tracked, he said. So I am super interested to try it out.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking at that soon. I was going to
send us free copies, Jordan, and we'll review it for you.
It's free. It's free to play. You can get it right now. I can probably send you the thing. Jordan is the king. Get Obama on the podcast. Yeah, let me just hit him up. Mr. President, sir. The people want to hear your opinion on the gaming, sir. If we had someone with actual importance on here, I don't know what I would say to him. It's like
we all know Sleepy Joe's just gaming right now.
Let's get Musk on here, dude. Let's ask him about his cheating allegations. Come on, Mr. Musk. You got time. You got time, brother. Well, it looks like have we played Ghost of Tsushima? I have not played that. I watched a whole playthrough of that game though because it was just so pretty. But at the time that that game came out, guys, I did not have the hardware to play it. I did not have a PC capable of handling it, nor did I have a PlayStation 5. So,
what are you streaming this week? I guess
honestly, now that I've talked about Battlefield 1, I think I'm going to end stream and restart stream to go play Battlefield 1. What do you think of chat? We're going to go play Battlefield 1. Tomorrow night, I'm going to try to get myself canceled by bringing my high school friends on.
Oh, no.
Chat has been loving that, dancing the very edge of what is appropriate to say on my stream. For my very, very opinionated friends in all the wrong ways. I have no idea.
Okay.
It'll probably end up being Call of Duty.
Okay.
That's what we usually end up playing. On Friday, I can't keep doing late night streams. Holy crap, guys. Last weekend, we played on Thursday till 2 a.m. and then on Friday till 3 a.m. I ordered Taco Bell at 3:45 a.m. and ate it live on stream. It was fantastic, but holy crap, was I slumped the next day, guys. Like I was like seeing dragons and like a freaking taste sound, bro. It was crazy. So I can't keep doing late night streams, so we're gonna cut off at midnight these days so old man G can get some sleep.
Midnight. Wow, that is early.
I know, right? Can we insult the hairlines
of your friends from high school?
Oh yeah, go for it. Not my hairline. My hairline's crisp.
Nah. Go.
It's heading due north. So I don't know. Every night, like the last couple of times I've got on stream, I've literally just had chat vote because I have all these games I want to play, but then in the moment I'm like, man, what do I want to play? I really want to play Sea of Thieves, dude. I love that game. And I don't play it enough, and I want to play it. So we'll see. Well, let's end it.
We need to
go
play
to Battlefield.
What was that one game that we played for a while? The roulette game.
Egg Splat. Exploder, yeah. I think is what it's called. Exploder.
No, the roulette game that we were playing for a little bit.
Oh,
we should do that
Buckshot.
One again sometime. Yeah, Buckshot roulette.
Ooh, Buckshot.
I'm working out a contract right now for content creation stuff. So hopefully if that goes well,
let's go.
Be able to do more like live streams and stuff too. I just need to I have a capture card. I need to get my capture card all set up because I want to stream from one computer while I use the other one to do stuff. It's all complicated. Streaming's complicated.
Streaming is crazy. I'm going to do a setup tour at some point. As like a video on my channel because I have the most insane setup. There's so many wires everywhere. If you guys want to see the worst wire management in the world, come check out my setup. It's horrendous. And I am just owning it at this point because there's no possible way to organize this thing. It's just going to be a jungle back there and that's fine. All right. Well, since there's not very many there's no intelligent life in the chat. We are going to call it. Never was. There's no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna cut this off, guys, and I will maybe jump right back on. I gotta check on my kid. I was just checking the baby monitor, and she's gone. So that's a problem.
All right.
So yeah, guys. I gotta go save the day. Well. Thank you guys again for tuning in to the Practically Audio Podcast. Catch us next week live on Twitch and YouTube or catch us on Spotify.
Heck yeah.
That's all from us. See you guys on the next one.
See you next week. Bye.
Happy gaming.